And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Dawg Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Harris Sereno. Alongside me, co-host Dan Kiley, Kobe Pierce, the most athletic co-host of us all, as we discussed pre-show. Back at you again, here with another edition of, I don't know, what? The world's largest outdoor cocktail party preview. I think this is the third that we've done. Fourth?
Mm-hmm.
And the way I always remember about this rivalry, as Dan Kiley once said, a younger Dan Kiley, you don't see Florida fans in Jacksonville until they win. Then they're out there like roaches in the night, everywhere.
You got that right. Them son of a guns hide all week long. You're down there just having a great old time. It's just nothing but go dogs here and there. You might see one Florida fan or whatever. Let them some bitches win the game. They come out of everywhere, just talking all sorts of stuff. If you've ever been down there, especially when they had the landing, I'm old, man. I'm talking about I think the last Georgia-Florida game that I went to was 2004, 2003. 2003.
I was going to say, weren't you there Shockley or David Green? It was one of the two. Weren't you there for both?
I was there when David Green was the quarterback. Everybody was calling for Shockley to get in the game, so they make a change and put Shockley in. He throws a freaking pick six to Toledo Shepard. Oh, my God. That was bad. I was hammered that game.
What was your first? And Kobe, I want you to answer that as well. Dan, was that your – I know that couldn't have been your first. What was your first?
Second one.
Your second? What was your first one?
The one before that, but I don't remember
what
happened. I got way too.
He said, "I don't remember that." Kobe, I'm assuming your first may have come as a player, but maybe not. I mean, you're not that far. It did.
Yeah, my first game in 2017, which was a good one for those that are too young to remember. That was like the time. That was basically where they scored in the last 3 minutes of the game to keep from the shutout from happening. So it was a good one. I have never been there. Knock on wood. I'm not going this weekend. So I've never been there for a Georgia loss. I've been there 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 23, I think, and then didn't go last year and won't go this year.
So you didn't go in 20, although I don't know how many people
it was COVID. So yeah, we didn't go in COVID.
I don't blame you. I don't think Georgia fans would have wanted to been there after the first play. Kobe, I know we got hot topic. You said you had an idea, and I
did.
I had a cold open, so I was like, I might have just stole your thunder, but I was like, ooh, that might be something nice to just bring up since we're on the top. But go ahead.
Yeah, not at all. It has to do with the game, obviously. And Dan, since you haven't been in that long, and I wasn't there for these either, and Harrison, you may have been, but a wee lad. I saw on Twitter that they've all been talking about how great the primary jerseys were for a couple of years. There was 3 or 4 seasons where Georgia wore home jerseys, Florida wore home jerseys, and we played that way. Basically, the schools have basically said that won't happen anymore for the foreseeable future, that we'll always do the home and aways. Just y'all's thoughts on maybe primary in this game or in general, like when teams Peach Bowl 2020, we wore black, Cincinnati wore red. Like, how do y'all feel when both teams wear a home color when they're a very contrasting difference? Like, obviously you can't do Alabama and Georgia, like they're too close in the crimson and the red, but with the blue and the red, it's quite visually appealing.
I love it, and I think Dan and I may agree here. Here's the funny thing about Dan. Dan is not your typical mid-40s football fan. Dan doesn't hate nice uniforms. Dan loves tradition, but Dan is here for some nice colorways.
My man just said Dan 47 times.
I'm going to say Dan again.
And I want to hear Harrison's opinion on it. He's telling me about Dan.
I was just saying, it's kind of funny because I'm sometimes more of the, screw that, just wear the traditional uniforms. And Dan's more of like what you think I would be in terms of, hey, I'm here for the flash. But I'm here for it, Kobe. Just for me, I think it needs to be, if you're going to do it, it needs to mean something. There needs to be an occasion. Whether, hey, you're playing Georgia Tech on Black Friday going forward, then, hey, you got to wear black jerseys because it's Black Friday. And do color on color. Gold versus their or black versus their gold. Like, that'd be kind of cool. But I love it. I mean, if you look at the thumbnail, we have Gunner in a red jersey, and we got Lagway in their blue throwback uniforms. And they could just wear the divisional colors. But the contrast is awesome. It'd be amazing. I love that idea. They should 100% bring that back.
So it doesn't bother me at all, specifically in this situation because they're so opposite, right? I mean, red and blue can be no further apart. It's not hard to tell them apart. To me, it's like
blue. My bad.
To
guys.
me, I would just I don't mind it at all. You know how like the one thing that all the Georgia fans want. Well, I won't say all because there's a large majority of people who are just stuck in the mud. But you know, so there's a segment of the Georgia fans that think it would be really cool, really nice to have alternate uniforms at least one time a year, right? Wouldn't it be cool if kind of us in Florida agreed like, hey, listen, our game every year is going to be an alternate uniform game. So like Florida will be alternate whites, Georgia will wear alternate darks. And then the next year, Georgia will wear alternate whites and they'll wear alternate darks or whatever. And that way, Kirby can't do the whole thing where like, oh, it's like it's pre-planned. You know, there's not a fuss about it. It's just every year that's where it's going to be. And the reason I picked that game is because of the significance of the game. You know, it's our biggest rival. It's special. It's different than every other game. There's no other game that Georgia plays that year in and year out that is structured the way the Georgia-Florida game is. So I think it would be a cool little add-on bonus to that is to have it. And, you know, the uniform that I want to see before I die is the all whites with the white helmet. Oh my God, that is the most beautiful uniform I've ever seen. The icy whites. It looks amazing. I just want to see it one time. The white helmet. Before you say, tradition, can't wear nothing but the red helmets. Who's the most historic football team, one of the original football teams of all time, the Green Bay Packers, just wore icy whites on Thursday night with a white freaking helmet. And who did Georgia have to ask permission to get to wear the damn helmet logo? Green Bay Packers. And if you think that's a lie, Google the shit, okay? They've been around longer. And if they can wear icy whites with white helmets, gosh darn it, the Georgia Bulldogs can do it at least one time a year or one time in my lifetime. That is the sexiest uniform Georgia's ever put out there, and they won't wear it. And it drives me up the wall. You can keep your black, whatever. I don't care. Harrison, you know me for longer than Kobe. My favorite is white everything. I have like 50 pairs of white shoes. Almost all of my Georgia shirts are white. I love white. Don't clip that. But I know I just completely ranted on your topic, but I just think it would be cool as shit if they just made the Georgia-Florida game extra special by just saying, hey, that if we're going to wear alternate, that's where we're going to do it, and we're going to do it every year. And I think that would be really cool. Sorry. I just completely took that over.
What would you think of Georgia wearing white in the red pants, bring the red pants back, and Florida wearing its blue uniforms with their, I guess, orange pants? Like a color-on-color game. I don't know. I know some people don't like the red pants after the Arkansas game. Kobe, I wish we got to see Kobe Pierce in the red pants. I wish we got to see it.
It'd have been sweet.
It would have been cool. If they're going to do like an alternate every year, if they were to bring that, I think one of those years you need to do a throwback, and that would be sick.
I think my thing is different traditions change over the time, right? Like the highlight that they play every single Saturday in Athens of Herschel Walker running over the gentleman from Tennessee.
Bill Bates.
He is in red pants when that occurs.
Yes, he is.
Like he is in red pants against Tennessee. He runs him over in red pants. It's one of the most historic videos played in the stadium every single game, and people love it. Love it. How could you tell me that wearing the red pants one game a year, even if it was at Tennessee every year, you know, every other year when you play at Tennessee, we're going to wear the red pants. Like, I just think that there is some flexibility. I like back to kind of what we were talking about, though. I like the primary on primary. I think it would be nice. I think especially for the next
With
2
uniforms
seasons
now.
when you're – well, yes, but especially over the next 2 seasons when we're going to play somewhere besides Jacksonville, it's an easy time to say we're going to do a little something different for 2 seasons, kind of juice everybody up to travel to Tampa. I think it's Tampa, isn't it? Tampa and Atlanta. Yeah. So kind of juice everybody up to like come and see something different, right? Like don't see the same old. Like it's a little something different. I just feel like, and this is my personal experience too, and I think things will change as NIL and things continue to grow. But in a time where there is logos on the field, Delta's logo is on the field, there is soon going to be a Georgia Power logo on the jersey, or whoever pays. I mean, maybe Zaxby's. Whoever pays. Like when there is about to be just money oozing out the lid, you should be able to say, "Hey, man, maybe we should wear a little something different," because tradition's a little out the window on what's up, you Ole Miss fan.
Hey,
am I getting you food too or no?
Hold on. Take me off the screen.
I just think it's a great time that tradition is what makes things special. But at some point, how can you look at the world of college football right now and say, well, man, this is just like it always has been. Bunch of good old fellas out here playing for the love of the game. Like, no, they're not. They love the game, but they also love that check.
Yeah, I agree. So well put. You left me speechless, Kobe. I mean, look, if they were to pay extra money for them to wear alternates, no question, the head ball coach would do it.
You're gonna, brother. Of course, you could sell triple the amount of jerseys.
I would love for them to do it and then tell the fan bases, hey, Florida, you wear orange. Georgia, you wear red. Or, hey, Florida fans, you wear blue. Georgia, you wear red. It would be an amazing aesthetic in the stadium.
It has been that way. Like back when – am I not – what? Why are you laughing?
No, you're here.
Okay. I hope I was muted when he was in here.
No, I got you.
Back in the early 2000s when I went, they used to – and Kobe, like I said, I haven't been in a long time. So when you were playing, was it split directly down the middle where the end zone was split right down the middle? So whenever we would go, we would always wear red. The 2 years in a row that I went, and almost every Georgia fan wore red. So this half of the stadium would be, from my perspective, this half of the stadium would be completely red. And for the most part, most of the Florida fans wore blue. And so this side of the stadium would be blue. And it was a night game, the one that I can remember. And it was the coolest thing because it's like, there is a line, like a clean line. Like you took a piece of blue tape, painted blue on one side, red on the other, and pulled that blue tape off, and it was a perfect line. And it was probably one of the coolest things I remember about going to that game. And you're 100% right. If they could make it like that all the time, it'd be great.
Absolutely. All right. Well, since we're on the topic of Florida, let's get into our second hot topic. Dan, I'll scrap the one we talked about since we went 14 minutes on just the opening segment of the show. Let's talk about SEC, I guess, not predictions. We're going to say who's the best man for each job, in our opinion. And we'll just keep it to LSU and Florida. And you can't use the same answer. Who is the best fit for the Florida job next season?
Well, I thought we were going to have Kobe here.
I think Kobe's here. Or no, you're right. We have the ghost of Brian Kelly. I forgot.
I mean, obviously, my biggest fear would be if Kiffin were to take that job. Mm-hmm. So I think in theory he would be the best fit. I don't think he's going to take that job, and I could 100% be wrong. I really don't think he's going to take that job. But what would make that place really dangerous? A young, really enthusiastic, just a guy willing to do what it takes to win and really attractive to recruits. Now, I think a guy who missed his opportunity would have been a guy like Lincoln Riley. I think when Lincoln Riley was hot, I think if he would have went there, it would have been great for him. But then again, it should have worked at USC, and it just hasn't. I don't know if he would take it. And there's been he's just had so many bad stops, right? But a guy like Cliff Kingsbury, that's completely out of the box. But he's young.
That's off the beaten trail.
He's an attractive guy. Like, listen, there's something to it with the recruiting, being young, attractive, things like that. Like, what coach was it? Was like, was it Lane Kiffin that was like, I won't hire a coach that has an ugly wife, because that means he can't close.
Good Lord.
So, I think a guy like Cliff Kingsbury could be. I'm not saying he's going to do it. John Gruden wants to get back into coaching, and a lot of people think he wants to get back into college coaching. And if you remember when he visited the University of Georgia, he said, how cool it would be if I came in here and kicked Georgia's ass, right? So maybe he's got his eye on that job in Gainesville. The only thing I don't know about him, and this has been the one thing that's kind of always been the stigma around Gruden going to college, is I don't know how much he would like recruiting. And we have plenty examples of him on television not liking young quarterbacks. But maybe he's gotten over that through his little Fired Football Coaches of America camp or whatever he does. I think Gruden could do a good job there. But of all the names that we talked about, I'm going to steal one from you, Harrison. I don't know. I don't know if you were going to put him here.
I think you're going to do it.
I'm not. You know what? I gave you two names. I think just a completely out of the box name would be somebody like Cliff Kingsbury. I don't know if they would take a chance on him. I don't know if he'd want to do it. The other would be a guy like Gruden, because I think he's got his eye on a job like that. You told me a name earlier today. I didn't know if you wanted him at Florida or somebody else, but as I got thinking about that, that would be really attractive. So who would be your perfect candidate for Florida?
Well, if we're not on the same page here, then absolutely go ahead and take it. I think Eli Drinkwitz makes a lot of sense.
Oh,
is that guy you were thinking about? Okay,
No.
never mind then. Well, I'll go ahead and lay out Drinkwitz, and then I'll let you lay out what you're talking about. Eli Drinkwitz has built Missouri into a winner. A consistent 9-10 win program with pretty good resources. I think Mizzou has had really good NIL. Not really good, but they've been efficient. He's recruited well. Dan, it feels like every cycle he's gotten a 5-star out of the, in the class, in the high school class. But he's also worked really well in the portal. I mean, when Damon Wilson hit the portal, there was no chance in hell that I would have said he's going to end up in Mizzou. That felt like Ohio State all day, any given day of the week, the type of school that Damon Wilson was leaving Georgia to go to. I mean, it was one of the first schools mentioned. Eli Drinkwitz had a conversation with him. I asked him about it at SC Media Day, Dan, and Drinkwitz told me, he was like, I didn't think Damon was actually going to be interested. Didn't think it was going to be worth it. But we had a conversation, and it proved to be he was interested. And he went into that home visit and obviously sold Damon Wilson on something, and Damon Wilson wanted to go there. And that's the type of thing that Florida needs. I think Billy has righted the path in terms of talent and recruiting. I think Billy did a good job. The one thing I think Billy lacks was the portal. I don't think he was as good in the portal as he could have been, as maybe a Lane Kiffin is. I think Drinkwitz gets you better there. But more so than that, Dan, I think Drinkwitz makes sure that on both sides of the ball, you are efficient. You have a good offense and you have a good defense. Mizzou's had really good defenses under Drinkwitz. They have not been walk-overs. He's built some good offenses over there, wide zone offenses. He has a hot young coordinator in Kellen Moore's younger brother. I'm blanking on his name. I like Eli Drinkwitz. I think he's built Missouri up enough that you can sell him on, giving him a chance at Florida with the resources they have. I think he makes a lot of sense. Dan, who's the I guess go ahead and give me the guy you have, that guy that we talked about, and then talk LSU to me. I think we both have the same answer for LSU.
Yeah, so the name that you threw out on our conversation, I thought this was who you were going to pull, was the Oregon offensive coordinator.
Will Stein.
Right. He's young, very young, but I don't know what Florida's looking for really, because the other name that I was thinking about was Charlie Weiss Jr. He's been with Lane Kiffin, and if you can't get Lane Kiffin, why not get him? And the reason I bring him up is because Florida has already shown interest in him, because the administration at Florida, and you can go find this, it's out there, I'm not making this up, the University of Florida tried to, Scott Strickland specifically, tried to get Billy Napier to hire Charlie Weiss Jr. as offensive coordinator and give up play calling over the offseason. He refused to do it, and then here we are. This is the point where they fired him. So they already had their eye on him anyway, but my only question is, would Florida be willing to give that job to a coordinator, or do they want somebody with a significant coaching experience? Go ahead, goes to Brian Kelly. Who would be a great fit at Florida?
Ooh. I think their pride may get in their way. I think a lot of people just believe that Florida is a coach away, a coach away, a coach away. I think people have thought that about South Carolina for a long time. I think, it's easy to kind of punt that down the field of, oh, it's a coach away. I think, honestly, personally speaking, Dan Mullen was a fantastic coach. Nobody won more with less than Dan Mullen. The problem is he is so fixated on that mentality of winning more with less. He never tried to achieve anything to get more, right? Like, to me, he wasn't big into recruiting. Still kind of out at UNLV if he's going to be big into the portal. But, like, the dude just gets people to win. Really great scheme offensively. Kind of doesn't really like to play a lot of defense. Then you hire Billy Napier, to me, a guy that was from the group of five. He ran the ball. I mean, they led the whole country one year in rushing yards per game. Physical, play defense, ran the ball, controlled the clock, punted, kind of that traditional style of football. And to me, he's really brought them a long way in their physicality, their effort, a lot of things like that, even recruiting. I mean, the man signed the number one quarterback in DJ Lagway. Like, it wasn't a lack of being on the right path. It was just the little things that he was missing. So I really feel like they could go with Galesh out of USF. To me, he's similar on that path of, like, they have done things the right way at USF. They've built it up from the ground. But then I could also see you trying to cherry pick, a big time coordinator out of the right program, or even seeing if a head coach would want to come back to an SEC type school. Loxley out of Maryland even comes to mind for whatever reason, as former offensive coordinator out of Alabama, been the head coach of Maryland. Like, Maryland's been a successful program. Obviously, he could come back. He's coached and recruited a lot of people in the Southeastern Conference. So I don't think there's any clear front runner at the moment. But I would be shocked if they talk another head coach into the job at the moment, at least out of the SEC, just because I think everybody thinks it's obviously going to be Lane Kiffin. I just am not seeing that the more it goes on.
Real quick, and then we'll hop into Florida preview. LSU job starts and ends with Lane Kiffin. Think we all agree? Well, starts with Lane Kiffin.
Not after today, I don't think.
Not after today. What changed your mind?
I think the governor coming out and saying that the current athletic director at LSU would not be a part of the hiring process for the next head coach slammed that door for Lane.
Why is that?
Because I think he loves to have I think he loves to have the freedom he has at Ole Miss. I mean, it's just like he can do and say and be himself 100% authentic 100% of the time. He doesn't have this big, overwhelming donor population that's like, talking to him behind the scenes about, like, hey, we don't want you being loud on Twitter. Hey, we don't want you, tweeting at people. We don't want you.
Is it a power star LSU, you think? Sorry,
yeah, it's fine. I think it's like any, program that believes they should be somewhere bigger. They think there should be a way in which you represent yourself. I mean, look at Dan Mullen. He said a couple wrong things in the media, and they fired him at Florida. Like, what do you think they're going to do to you at LSU if you say a couple wrong things in the media? They're going to be looking for the next guy.
See, I think with Florida, it's a different conversation because I think Florida needs that moxie, that Spurrier type attitude. And if you're winning, I don't think it's a problem. But like you said, if you're not winning, then it gets old. Then it becomes a problem.
Florida embraced it. They loved it. They were way behind it. I think you're right. I think an embrace.
But you make a good point about LSU.
Huh?
I think you do make a good point. I didn't even think about that.
But could you imagine Brian Kemp saying he's going to be in charge of who's the next head coach at Georgia? I mean, that's just when Kobe told me that story, I was like, "That damn it, boy! Like, what are we talking about? Like the governor is going to hire the coach?" I had never heard anything like that.
Because he's like, I guess he's the board of the director of the board of regents somehow at LSU, and I guess it's something with how their university set up. So, like, to my knowledge, he might be the only governor in America that has that power.
Well, good for him, I guess.
The one thing I will say, and I think I saw Peter Burns talking about it on Twitter, and I don't know if they'll do it. I don't know if they'll be brave enough to do it. I don't know if there's a coach that will bite. But I saw them basically say, in a ever-evolving landscape of college football, LSU could be very bold here and restructure the way we think about coaches' salaries at the collegiate level. That they could have a base salary and could have a lot more incentives riddled throughout the contract and the language, right? Like, you may get a base salary of $5 million a year. If you win more than 6 games, you get another $1 million. If you win 10 games, you get another $1 million. If you make a playoff appearance, you get another $1 million. If you win a playoff game, you get another $500,000. If you make a natty, you get another $1 million. Like, I think that there is going to come a time that there's going to be a lot less guaranteed money and a lot more incentive-based money for coaches. Because, like you're saying, can you really not do something as a coach, making $5 to $6 million a year? I think that's going to be the big question going forward. Go ahead, Dan. What do you think about the possibility of them maybe changing the way contract language looks going forward for some teams like that?
Well, speaking of changing the way people think about coaching, did you see who Robert Griffin III said should be the next coach at LSU?
Was it Ed Ogeron? Because if it is, it's hysterical that his name keeps coming up to be the coach again.
No, this will blow your mind. He's like, I had a conversation with him today. He wants the job. He's ready for it. He'll be a great coach there. He goes, there's not a kid in America that won't go and play for this guy. I'm like, damn it, this guy's about to cook. He said, Honey Badger.
Oh, Tyrann Mathieu.
You talk about the Honey Badger hiring him at LSU. You're out of your damn mind. Listen, I don't know ultimately who LSU is able to go out and get. You would think that they should be able to pull a pretty big name down there. But I do have a question for you. Would Mike McDaniels, would he do anything for you as a college coach? I think his game might play better in college than it does in the NFL. And I'm not saying LSU's the right fit. I'm not saying that. I'm asking, what is that like? Like, if I say the name Mike McDaniel, how does that strike you in relation to college? Because I don't know that he's going to get an NFL job right away.
Yeah, I don't know that like really gets me fired up necessarily if I'm LSU. I think that's the hard thing, right? Is it's this weird balance of like, who do you hire to make the fans happy? Who do you hire that also is a good enough coach to kind of relight the fire as LSU? And then who also knows how to like play the game of recruiting the area? I mean, you can win a national championship recruiting 70% of your players from the state of Louisiana if you don't let them slip out. I think that it's always interesting to think that, they really are a coach away at LSU comparatively than to maybe like a Florida. There's a reason that 3 of their last 4 head coaches all won national championship there. So it's the job to watch. So Harrison, anything to add before we kind of move on here?
I mean, can they hire from within? Can they hire their defense coordinator who's fixed their defense? Can they just promote from within, or is that too far down the umbrella?
Great question.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a lot of openings, man. I think there's going to be some unconventional things that happen to fill all these spots because we don't have that laundry list of names that are available right now. So I think a lot of these schools are going to have to be creative. And I think at the end of the cycle, I think there's going to be some teams that are pretty disappointed.
Well, shoot, the rumor about what James Franklin's going to get paid at Virginia, if he takes the Virginia Tech job, and that rumor's that's swirling around, his agent might be the agent of the year, might be the representative of the year. 50 mil, like 10 million a year is what was rumored, and then he's getting 50 million in terms of buyout from
No,
Penn
he's
State.
not. No, have you missed that? So the language contract, his contract language with Penn State is he's required to go get another job, and then they subtract whatever he's making from what they owe him.
All right, maybe he's not representative of the year. Maybe
No.
negotiator of the year needs to go to Penn State.
So he didn't get any. So he didn't get any buyout at all.
Well, so like let's say he was. I don't know what he was making. Let's just for argument's sake, let's say he's making 13 a year, right? He gets a job making 10 a year, and he can prove that that's the most he could have gotten. Then they'll pay him 3.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Real quick, because we got to run. So really quick.
Yeah.
I'm really ready.
I'm really ready.
Can Florida get away with hiring James Franklin?
No.
Not him.
No. Final answer, no. They can't.
Can LSU?
Probably not. I think for both of those teams, their aspirations are to win the big game, and you're talking about a coach that has never proven to win the big game. I think that he could reinvent himself at a Virginia Tech and win some big games again and get things rolling. But I think for a guy whose MO has been he's never been able to win the big one, not even talking about national championship, just like the big game in the season.
Yeah.
That's not something. I mean, you basically would fire Brian Kelly, who can't win the big one, and hire somebody else that can't win the big one. Like, that'd be pretty stupid.
You know who they can get away with hiring? Clark Lee.
Man, wouldn't that be quite a possibility?
We could do this all night. All right, let's talk about the stupid jort-wearing Gators.
All right, well, kicking it off. Obviously, the big news of the last 2 weeks, Billy Napier's out. Billy Gonzalez, another Billy, just feels right. The Gators have somebody named Billy leading them. In as the interim head coach. Do you feel better or worse that Florida's the interim head coach heading into this game?
Better.
Ooh.
Let me tell you why.
Talk to me, Kobe.
Let me tell you why.
Something possesses them like nothing I've ever seen with Billy Napier's job on the line. Like, they could be the 85 Bears. Like, when they're like, Billy may get fired this week, they just will themselves to win. Now that Billy's been fired, I feel like a lot of the guys now are finally like, okay, not necessarily like saying they're looking towards the end of the season and towards next season, but there definitely is a percentage of that team that's either draft eligible, going to have another year of eligibility, that's kind of like, hey, I need to go out, I need to play, or I need to not. I need to kind of protect where I am. This season's done, obviously. Like, any goals ahead of them are over with their coach being fired. Now, you like saying, it may be more dangerous. They may play a little looser because the interim's not thinking he's going to get the head job. But I just feel like now that Billy's out the door, Billy Napier, I guess I should say, they're going to be – I feel better about the way this game goes from here.
So
Dan, what about
the
you?
thing that makes me nervous is that a lot of times when the coach gets fired, that next game, and it is a lot of times it's not sustained. But Harrison, stop messing with your microphone, brother. I love you. Stop.
I wasn't even touching it.
There's a lot of times that that next game out, that team plays with their hair on fire, and we have not seen them play since he's gotten let go. This is the first game, so. That makes me a little bit nervous because you don't know exactly what you're going to get. To Kobe's point, they played so hard for Billy Bags, but it just didn't always work out. but they have talent. Anybody who says that Florida doesn't have talent, it doesn't know what they're talking about. They have talent. They just haven't been able to put it together for whatever reason, and they haven't had any kind of level of consistency. And that's the part that scares me, because Florida may not be consistently good, but damn it if they can't put a good product on the field one time. They do it all the time, where it's just like one game out of the blue, they show up and they look amazing.
Yeah, but luckily they did that to Arch. You know what I mean? Like that that game's happened. If they hadn't beat Texas the way they did, I'd be sweating a little bit more. But the season-saving win has already occurred one time.
Well, I guess my question for this game is what's the turnout for Florida fans?
Yeah, I mean it's a rivalry game. I mean,
I think you're going to be impressed at the turnout because it's the last time in this stadium in Jacksonville, because it's so historic, because so many people, especially Florida fans, have grown up with great memories of the stadium, big wins. I feel like it's going to be a good turnout on both sides. Just only because, like, the next time they play in Jacksonville, it'll be in a totally different stadium. That's just my personal sentimental thought process on it all. Maybe none of them show up, but they definitely seem to show up for this one.
I won't be surprised, like Kobe's saying, because there is a lot riding on this. And obviously with this rivalry, you throw the records out sometimes. Like there's some upsets here. It's happened several times. I mean, obviously go back to the Rick era. There's several of these games where Georgia looked like the better team going into it and didn't emerge as the better team when the scoreboard reached its final score. So I'll be curious to see what that looks like. I'm sure the atmosphere is going to be quite the experience for those who are there. Let's turn the page a little bit and dive a little bit deeper into this matchup. Gentlemen, it's week after week now. It's like last year. We're talking about slow starts with offense. And now we're talking about slow starts on defense. And every week, it's the question of how quickly does Georgia's defense find a way to get some stops and get off the field? 2 weeks ago, wasn't until the fourth quarter. Florida's offense is by no means anything to write home about. It's been the problem under Billy Napier. It was essentially the reason he got fired, got canned, couldn't get it turned around. And I think a lot of that was also because, obviously, J.J. Lagway in their quarterback position has not been great. DJ's been hurt, hasn't practiced all the time, still building some continuity in that unit. Last year, they got off to a quick start versus Georgia. Last year, they were up 7-3 before DJ got hurt. Obviously, there's a lot of Florida fans that felt Florida was going to win that game when DJ got hurt. I guess, does this follow the Quinn Ewers Alabama arc in terms of he gets hurt the first time, but then he comes back post-injury and plays with his hair on fire?
I mean, he may try to do that. And so with this game coming off a bye, Georgia's had now 2 weeks, and if you've been on Twitter and listened to anything Kirby had to say this week over the loudspeaker, he's been coaching them boys up. And if you think for 1 second of anybody in that building is happy about the defense having its struggles, that Kirby wouldn't care, you're out of your ever-loving mind. That defense is his baby. I mean, I think when he goes to sleep at night and he lays his head down on the pillow, if the offense had 1 yard passing and 75 yards rushing and they won the game 3-0, he would just sleep like a baby. He would not care. But if they win the game 45-44 because his defense couldn't get a stop the whole entire game, that man doesn't sleep at all. He loves defensive football so much that he gives it everything he's got. And I know a lot of times we just say Kirby, and we really should be talking about other guys on the staff too. But I'm saying, out of everybody in that building, the one guy who loves defense the most is that man, Kirby Paul Smart. And I guarantee you, I would be flabbergasted if we didn't see the best defensive performance of the season Saturday. I would be floored. Kobe, you've been in the building. How off am I?
Yeah, not very off. I think I'm with Dan on this thought process too of like, if you're a Georgia fan, what worries you is the fact that Florida can show up and they have the athletes and they have the quarterback And if they play loose and they play fast and they start fast and the offense clicks, like they could be a really good football team. I think the inverse of that is true. Like Georgia's proven it can score and be offensively efficient with the best teams in the country. I think I saw today one of the most efficient teams in the entire country offensively. How
the
scary!
most efficient,
Yeah. How scary would it be if it clicks the same week a defense clicks? Because it's coming. Like Dan's saying, it's not gonna happen at some point. It may not be consistent all throughout the year. Every single game, both halves. But sooner or later, them boys going to put two halves of defensive football together back to back, and somebody's going to get blanked. And I'm not saying it's Florida. I'm not saying you're going to shut them out or do anything crazy like that. But to think that you're just going to continually look and struggle in the bend don't break offense or defense, it's just not going to happen. Sooner or later, the dominoes are going to fall the right way for you. You're going to end up with an interception or two. A couple sacks. It's all going to happen. And I think that would be what you would be worried about if you're Florida is you're playing a man that has had 2 weeks, just like, some of the best coaches in the country. He just doesn't normally lose coming off a bye.
And when he has, it's usually been the team that he came from. When he has lost off the bye week, just off the top of my memory. He's lost, 2 Florida games in his time here at Georgia? 2. 2020 and 2016, if I remember correctly. If my memory serves correctly, which I believe it does. Yeah, you're right, Kobe. He's done really well at preparing for these games after the bye weeks, and he usually wins them. Not often he's lost them. I think we can count him probably one hand that he's lost a game coming off a bye week. Talking about the offense, I think that's the reason that Georgia fans should have extreme confidence in this game is no matter where you've been this year, whether it's on the road, at home, haven't seen him in a neutral site yet, we will on Saturday. Gunnar Stockton has risen to the occasion every single time, has not gotten rattled. We saw him go in the Neyland, play lights out late in that football game to crumble that, 10-point deficit? Was it a 10-point or 14-point deficit late in the game? It was a 2-score deficit late in the fourth. He brings them back. Then you go to Auburn, and the entire stadium has its mustard bottles and trash ready to throw on the field for the QB sneak that apparently was supposed to be a touchdown, but it's not a touchdown. But Georgia recovers the fumble and scores, but doesn't have the touch. Go down that rabbit hole. 10-point deficit, hostile environment. You come back and win that game. Then he comes back home and he scores on all 7 of his drives. Georgia put points on the board versus Ole Miss. This guy has been the definition of clutch for Georgia in some really big spots. I don't, no matter what Florida throws at him, no matter what this stadium throws at him in terms of, and obviously it's going to be 50-50 or close to it, you don't have a question mark at quarterback. And that's not something that Georgia was able to say last year. And maybe wasn't, last time you were able to say that, maybe would have been 2023. But last year when Georgia would go on the road and go into a neutral site, you're kind of like, hey, what quarterback do you get? We know what Gunnar Stockton's going to give for Georgia this year. That's no shot against 15 by all means.
It is. It's okay. It is
credit.
It's okay. It's a shot against him. It's all right. It was a 3-piece and a biscuit on the road last year with him at the helm. It's all right to say that.
That was about as bad of a football game as you could play.
That one to London Humphreys, the when he scrambles out, and it wasn't even for a second, wasn't there.
Like you're saying, I am so much more confident in this offense this year. Screens and all, love them. People hate them. Fan base, they'll be crying about them at some point.
Because Georgia's.
No, I know.
You're mauling.
I'm just making a joke.
No. Yeah, we're dead serious. Like
they're gonna be some people hot. They're gonna be some people hot about it. It's all right.
Georgia's offensive line is healthy. We saw what happened against Ole Miss 2 weeks ago, and they were getting healthy. They've had 2 weeks now to get even healthier. And like Kirby was talking about, having to play a lot of these guys in the first couple of games allowed these guys to get comfortable in there. And then it allowed him to rotate offensive players on the offensive line, and it kept them healthy and fresh. And by the end of the game, they started to mash. I mean, we started to get a lot of push towards the end of the game. I think that's one of the most overlooked things that we have going right now is that we finally have a healthy offensive line. And I cannot wait to see. I'm hoping 2 weeks has got Chauncey Bowen's leg right, where he's going to be completely healthy and explosive like he was early in the year. Nate Frazier seems to have that ball a little bit higher, a little bit tighter, holding on that thing, not putting it on the ground. We're starting to distribute the ball. I don't like the fact that we don't have Colby Young. He's one of my favorites, and Harrison knows that. The minute we got him, I love that dude. But the consistency of this offense, and then I think the biggest piece of it outside of the offensive line, and I think you both have touched on this number of times, is how much these guys are buying into Gunner. He has their back, or they have his back, like everybody does. Like they have all bought into Gunner. He has won that locker room, and Stetson did the same thing. When a lot of people were calling for Stetson's head and didn't want him, and he's like, oh, this, that, and the other, that locker room was never divided. And you couldn't take that job away from him because that locker room would have just fallen apart because he was the heartbeat of it. And I think Gunner's the same thing. I think behind the scenes, he's a genuine guy that has their back. And none of those guys ever have to worry about him going out to a press conference and throwing somebody under the bus or talking bad. Like he is going to be the one who says, I got to play better, right? He's not going to be like, Kobe's got to play better. Kobe's trash. You'll never hear that out of him. He's going to be like, I got to play better. Why did Kobe drop that ball? Because I didn't throw a good ball. Like he's that guy, and guys love that. And, right, wrong, or indifferent, those guys get more out of the team. There probably are a handful of more talented quarterbacks playing college football right now, but I don't know that there's a handful of quarterbacks that this room would trade for. I think they really love him.
We buying Gunnar Stockton Heisman conversation right now.
I'm not worried about any of that. I don't give a shit about any of that. I care about winning college football playoff games, and I think he's good enough to do that.
I was more so just curious. Are we buying
it? The two of y'all are fiery tonight.
Shit.
Listen, juice. Here it is, buddy. It's Florida week.
I agree. I agree. Heisman.
What did Kobe say earlier? Kobe said, I put it in quotes, juice everyone to come. Dan's bringing the juice today.
I'm with you. I think it's too early for me to be worried about Heisman hype, right? Beat Florida, roll on, keep winning games, and that's going to come, right? I mean, he's got 10 passing touchdowns, 7 rushing touchdowns. He goes out and he throws. He goes out, he throws 2 and rushes for 1 on Saturday. You start leaking into that 25 to 30 total touchdowns, maybe. I'm not sure who's the country's leader. 17 maybe, 17 or 18 passing touchdowns.
Somebody's got to have 30 already.
You think so? Somebody like big time? You think Mendoza has 30? I would say
somebody's got to have close to 30 already.
I would say Mendoza out of Indiana is probably my favorite at quarterback at the moment. I'll be right back. Y'all talk about that. I'm gonna see how many my man's thrown real quick.
How many?
I know Gunner's at what, 10 on the year? I'm pretty sure. I think it's 10.
What did Burrow have? 50 something?
Yeah, Burrow and Bryce. I believe Burrow had 50. I think Bryce had 40.
24 for Mendoza already on the year.
Damn. Well, I see Cincinnati's quarterback.
We literally split that. I said 30. You said 17. We split that like right down the middle.
And he's run for 3 also. So he has 27 total. So he's got 10 more than Gunner total.
The Heisman Trophy has turned into a numbers race. It's not. I mean, it's really not about who's the best player. It's who puts up the best stats. Same with baseball MVP. It's just whoever has the best numbers. It's not like who's the best. Like damn, Shohei Ohtani's the best player in baseball, and until the guy decides he doesn't want to play baseball, he should win the MVP every single year. but that's not how they give out that award. So,
question. You talked about Colby Young, obviously not available this weekend. Does anything change about Georgia's offense?
yeah.
Hey, I know people were happy.
Noah
'cause on
Thomas
Monday-
actually gets to do something.
Noah Thomas does, and then Kirby threw this out there, and this is like throwing a dog a bone. This is like throwing Dan black jersey hints. Dan's gonna eat this shit up.
I just told you I don't like the black
He-
jerseys.
he-
I want
he
the white
said
helmets.
White. He wants white.
I want white pants.
He started talking about the personnel, 12 personnel, 13 personnel. I think he even said 14 personnel.
See, that doesn't do anything for me anymore because Barber is like out for the season, and then Elias Williams really hasn't done a whole hell of a lot. So okay,
Hey, but he's been playing. He
has,
more.
but like he's not really a factor.
Not yet.
I think you could make him a factor though. I mean, he's so freaking big. I mean, use him like Big O. Yeah, just hello inside the 10-yard line. Hello.
I'm waiting to see them do that with Noah Thomas. You know, I mean, Noah Thomas was the buzz.
6'7", 6'8"?
I'm ready.
Elias, yep,
Let me tell you, I'm ready for the end around
to Dylan Bell.
to Zach Branch. It's coming.
Keep dreaming.
Yes,
I'm telling you, it's coming. It's
Keep
coming.
dreaming.
I'm telling you.
Keep
All right.
dreaming. All right. I just pulled up the SEC injury report. Georgia, no surprises. Nobody knew. Kyron Jones is still out with a foot injury. Talon Taylor still out with the shoulder. And obviously, Barber and Young are out. For Florida, their injury report's looking rather full. And I don't know if any of this is new. Running back Trey and Webb's out. Obviously, they still have
Can you
Jaden
put it up
Ball.
on the screen?
I can, if I can get it full screen. Let's see, because I got it in window mode right now. We'll zoom in. Vernell Brown's their leading receiver. That might be notable. LJ McCray and Caleb Banks. Caleb Banks was an all-SEC player last year, defensive tackle. He told me at SEC Media Days that he thought Florida's going to get it done this year. He said he thought they had him beat last year. I wrote an article about that. Aiden Mizell, a receiver for them.
Do you ever look at these and think about the guys that we finished in like their top 3 and they're there and not playing?
You talking about Trey and Webb?
Trey and Webb, Aiden Mizell, we finished in his top 3, if I remember right.
Mizell.
I thought LJ McCray, wasn't LJ McCray a 2-dog race at the end?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I remember Trey and Webb. Trey and Webb was committed to Georgia at one point, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. That's a lot of people out for them.
Yeah,
it is. And Georgia just has 4.
And, I mean, we're talking about out of those, one's a true freshman and Taylor.
And Barber,
true freshman. He scrolled so quick I couldn't remember who I was there.
Well,
Sorry.
he's not interested in that.
Damn it, boy. Danny ain't interested in the black jerseys, but he's damn sure interested in the white jerseys.
Yes.
Kobe's in it with the accent, even while muted.
What?
All right, let's get into picks and predictions. I was trying to find five good games, but there's really only like 3, and I don't want Dan moaning about some bad lines, some bad games that he just wouldn't pick. So I'm gonna stick with the 3. I haven't kept track with the records because, to be quite honest with you, we all suck this year. This year has been incredible in terms of, I feel like there's been more maybe upsets than in the past. Because last year, Dan was kicking ass. Dan, you give Dan a random game, and no matter if he knows anything about those schools, he was going to pick the winner, and like 70% chance he was going to be right. It was insane. But this year, we're struggling. Even Dan's struggling a little bit. Dan's not Mr. Automatic anymore, which I put down to rookie luck. We'll see how he does this week. All right, I got 3 games. Let's start in the South. DKR, Texas Memorial Stadium, Vanderbilt, top 10 Vanderbilt on the road at Texas. Arch Manning did practice today, listed as questionable on the injury report. Texas is a 2.5-point favorite over the Doors. Kobe, you're fired up for this one. Who you got?
I think that, gosh, I really think that the Vanderbilt hype has been fun. It's been all those things. And typically I would say that, the door kind of slams shut when you play on the road in the SEC a lot of times. That's where the ball kind of stops for you. But man, after what I've seen out of Texas a couple times, it really just depends what Texas team shows up. Like, I really think Vanderbilt could easily win this game by 10 or more. But I just have to stick with my gut and saying playing on the road in the SEC matters, even when you're Vanderbilt, even when you're Texas, even when maybe the better team is the team coming in. I think Texas wins this game and covers, I guess, the 2.5, which is basically a pick 'em in my book.
Yeah,
What are the odds? Dan knows what game we're picking.
So I think it's one of those things where Vanderbilt's been such a really good story. All I was looking at lines. I was trying to see what you might be trying to pick, Dirk. I think Vanderbilt's been a fun story. I think they're a good team. I think they're well coached. I think Texas, much in the way that we were talking about Georgia earlier, where, it's like it just hasn't all clicked for Georgia all at the same time. Texas is way too talented to be that pedestrian, and Sarkisian didn't forget how to coach overnight. So I think they're going to have a pretty complete football game, regardless of if Arch plays or not. I think that's probably the most irrelevant part of the football game is what Arch does. I think they just have way too much talent for Vanderbilt, and they're at home, and they've been embarrassed a couple of times this year. So I think, I talked way too much about a damn Texas Vanderbilt game, but give me Texas in the points.
I feel worse about this pick now, knowing that all of us are picking Texas. I'm taking Texas minus 2.5 here.
Well, then take Vanderbilt.
I just don't like the line, to be honest. If this was a
scared money,
line,
don't make money.
Okay, Billy Bags, calm down now. If this was a touchdown line, I'd hammer Vanderbilt here. But since it's 2.5, this is essentially a money line pick. Give me Texas, I guess.
And Harrison is a Texas fan, so that makes sense.
Damn, it's been so long since that's been brought up. That feels like a new joke.
Hook 'em Harrison.
That's crazy. Damn, I just make the predictions that I think are going to be right, and I get hammered for it. Damn.
It's good for you. If we don't mess with you, who's gonna? You know what I mean?
That's a good point. That's a good point. Although I got two other co-hosts that have been giving me shit for the last week about I was premature on the Brian Kelly getting fired. Somebody sent me a text that Brian Kelly got fired last Sunday before this past Sunday, and I read it on air against my better judgment. And I was like, damn it. Yeah. Anyways,
you were right, so it doesn't matter.
I was right 7 days early though. Oklahoma travels to Neyland. Shout out Dan. Tennessee. It's a top 20 matchup. Tennessee is a 3.5-point favorite. Boys, this is a surprisingly small spread. I think Tennessee wins this by 2 scores. I think it's a 10-point game.
Old Rocky Top. Woo! Rocky
and
Top,
I think they're spamming
Tennessee. Yep.
I have to say I agree with you on this. I just think that, gosh, I don't know. It's just so hard because when John Mateer and Oklahoma is clicking at full speed on offense, I just don't know that they're as explosive as Tennessee. And I think both defenses are going to be able to have some limitations, but I just think Tennessee wins. And it's not enough points to be like super scared about either. I mean, 4.5 is something handleable.
Well, since we're pretty much unanimous on all 3 picks, I'm adding a 4th pick to see if we can at least have a little bit of difference here. Don't know. Actually, we'll just go to 5. I'll figure out a 5th game.
Well, hold on. We've done 2 games. How the hell are you at 5 already?
Well, 3 because I think we're all picking Georgia minus 7.5. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I am.
Forgot to say that. But yeah, I think we're all taking the Dogs to cover. 4th, Lincoln, Nebraska. USC goes on the road to Nebraska. USC is a 6.5-point favorite. This is Dylan Raiola versus Jaden Mayava. Matt Rule versus Lincoln Riley.
Fight on.
I love how succinct Dan is. Dan's not playing around anymore. Dan's here to give picks.
I like it. It's at Nebraska.
at Nebraska. 6.5-point line.
But USC, 6.5 points USC, right?
Yep.
Is the favorite.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. This may be the best one we've picked so far, even though Dan just threw the USC clear on out there. I'm probably going to have to agree with him on that, though. USC probably wins this game by a touchdown. I was just trying to think of a way. I was just trying to think of a way that I thought Nebraska could win it at home. And I mean, it'll be a crowded house for them. I just don't know. I don't think Rayola's got it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't look at him, and I haven't watched him play, and he just doesn't have that it factor for me. And so in a big game like this, I'm not sure that he has it. Now, he may have it on Saturday and be working towards being that, but I can't confidently pick with him yet.
With Rayola, I think it's more so just the supporting cast is awful. Like, could you imagine what he looked like at Georgia right now with what Georgia has a receiver and up front? Obviously,
he'd be looking great on riding the pine. Good
point. He'd be writing poems from the pocket in terms of that's how much time he'd have to throw compared to Nebraska. But I'm going to do it. This is a 100-year-old stadium, boys. The Cornhuskers are some prideful people out there in Nebraska. Give me Nebraska plus 6.5. I'm going to go ahead and take it. I'm going to be different from everybody else. We needed some difference. And I think maybe this next pick we'll get some differences. Although I think we all agree who's going to win this game. It's just whether or not they cover this spread. And here's Dan's shitball of the week. Penn State at Ohio Stadium versus Ohio State. Ohio State is a minus 20.5 point favorite. Do they cover the monster spread this weekend?
Wait, hold on. If I could tease this up to 25 and make that payout even bigger, I'd be like, oh, get them, boys. Julian Satan's going to light their ass up. I know I'm not picking on you, Kobe. I know that's your secondary squad.
No worries. No, hey, brother. I've watched them fellas play. They ain't got it. You know, I would think if they were 6-1, 5-2, still had the head man at the helm, still had Drew Aller at quarterback, still had the dual-headed threat at running back, maybe I could see him squeaking it out in a defensive struggle, winning 21-17. Brother, I don't see that happening. I mean,
see him covering the spread is what we're asking.
And I'm telling you right now, I don't see that happening. I mean, old buddy got fired, and you're talking about like, your head coach gets fired, you go into somewhere, you play with your hair on fire, and you win a big game. How about you lose by a point to Iowa at Iowa?
They cannot score points.
I mean, it was first man to 28 at Iowa, and they lost 25-24. All you had to do all week to say, Coach, we got to score 4 touchdowns, 1 touchdown a quarter, and we win at Iowa. And you couldn't do it. And so I think you probably have to score 40 at Ohio State, and I don't think you're going to be able to do that either. So
even get half that? Probably not.
I would be shocked if Penn State scores. I would put their line at 10.
People are saying this Ohio State defense might be one of the best in college football history.
Statistically, right now, through 8 games, 7 games, whatever,
they are nobody.
The best.
I get that, but still.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Sorry. Well, I'm gonna have Ohio State covered 20.5 because I
talk about a.
I don't know if Penn State scores enough points to even cover. Anyway,
talk about a shit back-to-back week. You're at Ohio State, and then you're back home for Indiana next week.
You read my mind. I was just about to ask. Does Penn State get to bowl eligibility?
No.
Because I mean, this game's not going to be easy.
They'll lose to Nebraska. They may beat Michigan.
They were number 2 in the country, by the way.
They'll be 5-7, I would say, looking at this schedule. Because they'll lose this week. They'll lose next week. That'll put them at 6. They should beat Michigan State, but it's at Michigan State. They could lose that. I mean, 3-8 is not out of the question for them right now.
God, if you lose to Rutgers, last game of the season.
I mean, they've already lost to Northwestern, brother. I mean,
Yeah.
You know,
Well, without Pat Fitzgerald too. Like this isn't your daddy's Northwestern. I haven't been able to use that on the show ever.
nice.
Had to throw that one in there. All right, I'm proud of that one. Anyways, we're gonna wrap it up there for episode 164 of the Top Dawg Talk podcast. That's Kobe Pierce. That's Dan Kiley. I'm Harrison Reno. This is the Top Dawg Talk. We'll be back. If the boys don't leave me, we'll be back on Sunday at 8:30, normal time.
Go
Maybe?
Dogs.
Time
Maybe?
change. Don't
Oh
forget.
shit!
Is it?
Yeah, Saturday
Fall
night.
back?
We fall back on Saturday night.
Yeah,
Man.
buddy.
Kobe and Dan gonna be leaving work, and it's gonna be dark outside. That's a depressing time of year.
Dude, it's dark when I get to work. It's dark when I come home. It's dark all the time.
That's why he likes his jerseys white.
Go Dogs.
Anyway.